Please welcome to the stage now, representing Toyota Motor North America, EMA Corporate Board Chair, Doug Coleman.
Good morning. I'm honored to be here today to be part of this great organization. This is the 19th year of Toyota's partnership with EMA, and we continue to be very proud of our work together. Before we start, I want to recognize the work that so many of you in this room do to make a meaningful impact on the environment. We can't thank you enough. Thank you. Given the long history of our work with EMA, I think it's important to share Toyota's environmental goals with you so we can continue to make real positive change together in the years to come. So let me start by saying that Toyota believes unequivocally in climate change. And to Jamie, the well-spoken young woman in the last panel, I'm not saying that to get a pretty photo and a cookie. We are committed to reducing or eliminating CO2 and greenhouse gas emissions from every aspect of our operations. Our key objectives are to reduce our carbon footprint, conserve water, eliminate waste, and take care of our local habitats. Doesn't everybody in this room want that? Of course we do. So how does the world's second largest automobile manufacturer work to solve for these overarching issues? In 2015, we launched our Environmental Challenge 2050, a series of 6 aggressive goals that put Toyota on a path to a net positive environmental impact. What does that mean? Several things. First, eliminate CO2 emissions from our vehicles by over 90% from 2010 levels. 2, go beyond tailpipe emissions to eliminate CO2 in the entire life cycle of the vehicle. 3, also eliminate CO2 emissions from our operations. So think about that for a moment. 0 CO2 emissions from all production and operational activities. 4, minimize and optimize our water usage. 5, help create a recycling-based society that reduces or eliminates the need for landfills and the pollution they create. And last but certainly not least, 6, supporting biodiversity and operating in harmony with nature to create a healthier planet. Now, no doubt these are very aggressive goals, but we are making every effort to achieve each of them. And we're excited to say that we've already been making an impact. Here's a few examples. Toyota is the largest producer of electrified vehicles worldwide. By 2025, every model in the Toyota and Lexus lineup around the world will be available either as a dedicated electrified model or have an electrified option. In 2016, only 1% of waste from our North American facilities was disposed in landfills. The rest was recycled, reused, composted, or sent to a waste-to-energy facility. And right here in LA, Toyota, in partnership with Kenworth, is in the process of building 10 fuel cell electric Class 8 trucks. These trucks will serve the key ports in Southern California, a notorious source of air pollution, while emitting nothing but water. And so as we look forward, I want to talk to you about how these challenges could impact the future of mobility and how mobility can impact the environment, not just in the next few years or in the next decade, but out to 2050. Let's begin with a bit of a calibration. If we're talking about a 2050 challenge, we need to start by understanding how far away 2050 really is. And one way to do that is to look to the past. In this case, 2050 is only 31 years away, which if you look back, puts us into the late 80s. Now, depending on how old you are, I realize this may seem like a lifetime ago, but if we're able to teleport back to the late 80s, some things would look the same, like the roads we drive on and the buildings we work in. But so many other things would seem so foreign to us. The late 80s saw the introduction of several consumer goods, such as the original Nintendo system, early forms of the laptop computer, and the mobile phone. By the way, could you imagine texting from that thing? The point is we've seen so many advancements in the last 30 years, and I believe that we can expect to see so many more amazing breakthroughs in the next 3 decades to come. So 2050 isn't all that far away, and some things will very much stay the same, and other things will change dramatically. How do we know which ones? Well, I'm not a fortune teller, I can't predict the future, but I think Peter Drucker said it best when he said, trying to predict the future is like trying to drive down a country road at night with no lights while looking out the back window. The bottom line, it's an extremely difficult thing to do. But Drucker also said, the best way to predict the future is to create it. And at Toyota, we are not going to sit back and let the future happen to us. We're going to be active and purposeful in making a positive future come to life. Now, I just mentioned we're looking to make a net positive impact with our Challenge 2050. But how? By spending millions on research and development and working tirelessly to push the boundaries in 4 key areas that will have a huge impact on our transportation future. connected, autonomous, shared, and electric initiatives, or CASE. Now, the whole automotive industry is paying attention to these 4 megatrends and how they will impact how we all get around. More convenience, more time back, lower costs, and fewer accidents on the road. But what is less well known is how each of these can also have a positive impact on the environment, if we deploy them in a sensible manner, of course. Let's start at the end with the letter E. This is the one you all know very well. Almost 20 years ago, we introduced an odd-looking, funny little car called Prius to these shores. Prius got 46 miles to the gallon, which at that time was more than double the average mileage of a conventional vehicle. But was society ready for the Prius? Think back to that time. Gas was $1 a gallon, so who needed an economical vehicle? Need another example? The star of the Detroit Motor Show was the Hummer H2 concept. Even the media and other commentators ridiculed the idea of hybrid technology at that time. But through our partnership with EMA, we were able to expose millions of people to the Prius, with actors and actresses arriving at the Oscars making a real statement about their values. This was truly an influencer moment. Since then, Toyota's gone on to sell approximately 13 million electrified vehicles. We have reduced CO2 emissions by more than 103 million tons. Thank you. It's a major accomplishment that sparked innovation and adoption within the industry and beyond. But it's only the beginning of our efforts. We must push forward with new clean energy and technology. To that end, Toyota launched the Mirai fuel cell sedan, a zero-emission, mid-size car that creates its own electricity on board. We've sold over 5,000 Mirai in California since the launch less than 4 years ago. But we can do so much more. We plan to introduce the Mirai in the Northeast and the Northwest areas of this country, with the goal of making this technology widespread by 2030. We firmly believe it will be a critical piece in conjunction with other electrified vehicles to solve our reliance on fossil fuels. And the second major trend is artificial intelligence, essential to a world of self-driving or autonomous cars, with some of the related technologies you see here. Our scientists and engineers are actively working on improved software and algorithms that will improve computer learning and decision-making. In addition, we're researching technologies that mimic the human brain or take advantage of the rules of quantum mechanics. The goal is to essentially create machines that can think and reason and drive at or surpassing the level of human beings. Now, certainly our social demands for safety, ultimately zero accidents, is an enormous force pushing this technology forward. But what's the final target of this technology? I'd argue it is something more like this. Now, how close are we to a KIT, a car that not only drove itself, but was David Hasselhoff's wingman? It seems it's a long way off. But we're confident that AI can contribute meaningfully to our environment as well. Already, today's cars optimize fuel consumption, even though humans at the wheel, a human that doesn't always know how to or care to drive economically. But an artificial intelligence can be programmed to both know and care 100% of the time, which can greatly increase fuel economy. Now, I'd like to think that the writers for Knight Rider predicted the future quite well, but of course, KIT was powered by a turbojet engine that could go 0 to 60 in 1 second. So let's hope that's not standard equipment on our future autonomous vehicles. The third key area is ubiquitous connectivity. In this space, we think about data technologies like the collection of big data through advanced sensors and wearables, transmitted over universal Wi-Fi or 5G, and collected and organized into an accessible cloud platform. Basically, the end game here is a world where all information is digitized, optimized, organized, and immediately accessible. From a mobility and urban planning point of view, the application would be, for lack of a better term, a fully functional smart city. All this data will help enable system-wide decision-making, such as routing traffic, that could dramatically reduce the waste of time and resources caused by congestion in major cities. And lastly, the letter S for sharing. That ubiquitous connectivity has also opened up the possibility for new social behaviors. If you can access the right tool you need, the right time you need it, we suddenly have an alternative to the concept of ownership that becomes quite compelling. When consumers can choose a just-in-time, right-sized vehicle for their very specific need at that moment, we can start to reimagine a new urban landscape. So about those aggressive Challenge 2050 goals, will actively pursuing these trends be enough? The goals are certainly daunting, and they might seem impossible. But at Toyota, we believe that anything is possible. You just have to start. Thank you.